Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
Hi, this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Thank you for joining us tonight out on Facebook and out there on YouTube. For tonight's show, we've got...
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. It is time for us to get into talking about our businesses with the one and only Dr. Drax. Good evening, Drax.
Hey, good evening, John. It's great to be here. So excited we could do this session tonight and get some live breathing interaction. That's what we're after here tonight. So there's going to be some of you who are going to be watching this out on Facebook, and then there's going to be some of you that will be jumping in on our Zoom. Goodness gracious, I was going to say Wirecast because we've been talking Wirecast. Let them jump on the Wirecast.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on Facebook, I just put the link, and you can click on that Zoom link, and that will bring you to where we're going to be watching the chats and such as folks come in here, because we are doing this earlier than typical. So most people are probably off having supper, still getting the, walking the dog, all the important things.
Yep. All the important things.
So, Drax, before we get going too terribly far and get some questions, we're getting up to kind of a big couple of weeks here. We've got Photo Booth Expo and Mobile Beat coming up, a couple of big industry events. And
yep.
One thing, and this is somewhat business related, but not, is I just have been watching the number of DJs who continually say, I don't need to go to this. I've been doing this for 25, 35 years, 10 minutes, whatever they're talking. And they just don't feel that they can get the return going to a Las Vegas or DJ Expo or Midwest, any of the shows. How do you...
Yeah, well, and I agree with them if they can say, I don't need to go because my business is currently the top-rated business in the market. It has the largest market share, and I have the highest gross margin of any company in my area. Then it's not that I'm agreeing with them, but then there becomes at least an argument to be made that I'm doing really pretty well. I'm at the top of the market. I'm charging the most. I'm earning the most. I'm making the most amount of money, the most amount of profit. I've got a very large number of 5-star reviews, great feedback. Our demand for our service way outpaces our supply. Then, yeah. But, it was interesting. I was watching online. And on Facebook, Casey had done a poll basically saying, do you go to shows, yes or no?
Yeah.
If you go to shows, what do you go for? And I'm big on the education side. I think I still go to engineering conferences, even though I haven't been an active engineer for a while, because I enjoy knowledge. I enjoy learning. And I think that's one of the challenges is a lot of younger guys have, is they start off and they don't know what they don't know, but they've grown up with the idea that YouTube is the haven for everything. Now, it's odd that we're on YouTube and teaching and talking, but not everything can be found on YouTube in the level that it can in a live experience. And it's not that the content differs radically. There's a connective tissue difference in a live event. You feel more personality of the presenter. You feel more what they think. It's kind of like, I liken it to watching a DVD of the Eagles concert. you know, you can watch that, and you can watch Glenn Fry and Don Henley, and it's awesome and it's great, but it's not like being in the fourth row watching them sing on a dark desert highway. You know, it's just not the same. Even though I'm hearing the same thing and I'm watching the same guys do it, it's not the same thing emotionally and physically. That's why I think conferences are so important. You know, and if you actively believe you're a professional in an industry, you should be going to the industry conference that supports your industry. In the DJ side, we currently have 2 majors, Atlantic City DJ Expo, MBLV, Mobile Beat, coming up in Las Vegas in a couple weeks. If you're on the photo booth side, there's the Photo Booth Expo, and there's another traveling educational thing, PVPI, that is held in different places, and they do some great content. And, you know, in the DJ side, there's luckily a number of smaller events that allow you to go to something that is close by. Midwest DJs Live, ARM DJs, other such events. And I think all of those are positive experiences. And my main thing with conventions, though, is go because you have an objective. Don't go because you really want a vacation. I mean, I guess that's okay, but definitely don't do it by credit or debt. Go because you got an objective. And for some, what I've seen from these polls, for most, it's to physically reconnect with people that they've known, met at conferences, or they've met online. And that's okay too. But I was really surprised to see education be the 3rd item on the list. That was kind of shocking to me.
I think it was too. And really, really quite disappointing as someone who has put together these events. You know, we both have done that, and we've really, first thing in our head was, let's get the best content out there. Let's produce, you know, educational content that will change people's lives. And then we find out that, well, that's the 3rd thing they'd want.
And you know, I think what is going to happen as we move forward with a younger generation of people coming into the business, much like today's bride really doesn't want to sit down and have a face-to-face and hug and kiss and be BFFs and be on your Christmas card list. Much, I think, is going to change in the way people absorb content. I think it will become more online driven, which is what's great about Disc Jockey News TV and the various online conventions that you put together. And I think that's going to be the case. I mean, it used to be you go to a convention because that's where you'd see all the new gear, and it would be like you'd know nothing about it till you got there. Well, now every manufacturer making anything has got a video that they drop the minute that product is ready to hit the market. So I think a lot of the younger people feel more comfortable that, oh, I can see the video, I can see what it does, how it works, and then they can go down to their local retailer and get the touchy-feely, and they're not spending $1,500 to go to a conference. I think a lot of it's going to change dynamically. I don't know about your thoughts, but to me, conferences today are not the same size that they were 10 years ago.
Not a bit, not a bit. There's a different energy too. I mean, but that, you know, we were all just so excited to be there and to absorb. Now, because different ways to learn, and this has been an area that I've mentioned on other shows, that one of the things I think that's hurting conferences is we're going there to see friends, and because we're there to see friends, we want to go out to dinner with our friends. Well, now we start fragmenting the event, because now we have a group of 30 going here, a group of 20 going here, and 10 here. And what ends up happening is as a show promoter, okay, I need to get my sponsors, they need time with eyeballs. And if I have a speaker manufacturer, I mean, as an example, the PV party on Monday night that is at Mobile Beat Las Vegas, PV wants DJs there.
Yep.
Want to have people that are looking and listening. And all of a sudden, if you've got 40 different groups of 20 people, that takes care of 2/3 to 3/4 of your audience, and you have 150 people. Not that, but I'm just as an example.
No, exactly. And you're on point. You know, it's like when I did the Las Vegas DJ show, I threw the marquee party because I thought, okay, look, you're in Vegas. If you want to go do the nightclub thing, there you go do it. I never, ever went to one of them. Never, ever walked in the door because it's not my scene. It's not what I do. but we also organized some other events, you know, Richard Blade spinning at a pool party kind of festive thing. And I think there's nothing wrong with people wanting to connect and go out with friends and network, because for a long time, what's always the post event? The best content was in the hallway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
And it's not really necessarily factual, but it's perceived because it came more genuinely amongst people that they respect and trust. And so I just think there's a different dynamic occurring in it. And it's part like this year, Chris from PV and we kind of partnered up so that there wouldn't be any feeling of perception that the ADJ after party, the ADJ's after party was in any way competing with the takeover.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because didn't want there to be any hurt feelings or anything, because Chris and I are great friends. And so we did that as a combinatory event. You know, the ADJ event is no way an official mobile beat anything. It's just an ADJ party because a lot of ADJ members said, oh, come on, please throw the marquee party again. So we did. We hooked it all up. But I think that the dynamic is fundamentally shifting. And I think if we're approaching shows with a mid-90s, early 2000s ideology, I think if you're a show producer doing that, I think you're in trouble. And that's not pointed to any of the current shows. That would be me, myself. That would be anybody. Because I think the audience is shifting. And I think the need for a successful show has got to figure out who that new audience is and how you attract them. Much like we have to now learn how to market to younger clients, to new clients. We have to use new technologies to reach clients. 15 years ago, we didn't go on social media to engage clients.
Yeah.
There was no social media. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah. How times have changed. And as we're looking at the audiences that are attending, whether it's Expo or in Vegas there, you know, you've got, to a point, you've got the audience that we had 10 years ago. We're just 10 years older.
And that's really true. That's the thing that's been interesting is going to shows. I'm, working rapidly up onto my 20th year of doing things and going to shows. I'm seeing largely the same people. We're just a year older. And it concerns me because, and I'm not faulting any show producer when I say this, none. But somehow we are not connecting organically to the younger DJs, to the younger people getting in the audience. Same for PBX. PBX is different because it's only a couple years old, so it's still a huge dynamic. But I'm sure what will happen is eventually Photo Booth will experience the same sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Photo Booth is where DJing was 20 years ago, if you will. It's on the big upswing of everybody wants to do it. Everybody wants to get in it. On the DJ side, though, I think we're, as an industry, not connecting to that audience. And, to wit, that's why we did DraxBytes and broke things down into shorter bits. And I think we have to do that at trade shows. And certainly, if audience participation says education is really number 3, then we got to figure out what's our attraction, what's our ability to get people to come. Is it the city? If it is, then maybe you need to organize some more social education opportunities. I don't know. Don't have the answer. And
I don't think any of us do. It was interesting. Scott was in with us on it was last night, was it? When DJ Bar and everybody were together.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got 3 young guys that are 25 and under that were on the show last night, and it was phenomenal. You think the conventions were even on their radar as a big thing?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I think once Bar went to his first one this year, it was an eye-opening experience for him. He's mentioned that on a couple of occasions, but I think it's just we're just not hitting that audience, or not reaching them, or we're not exciting them enough because we're not. I don't know. I scratch my head. I don't. And you've got 3 young men who are very active and very passionate about what they're doing.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Can I say that? It seems like they were more focused on the, using the YouTube and the YouTube channel. And that's almost where we're going as far as convention-wise. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but it's more going into the computer inside and bringing it, it's attending to me is a very important thing, I would think. But times are changing on that.
Well, exactly. I mean, here's a perspective. My grandson's 22. If I want to speak to him, I have to text him.
Mm-hmm.
If I call him, it's just going to go to voicemail.
Yeah.
And we were having a conversation because I like YouTube, but I'm not into it like he is.
Sure.
He goes, anything I want to know is on YouTube. Anything I want to watch is on YouTube. Every television show I want to see is on YouTube. And him and my granddaughter, YouTube is their entertainment. It's their television, their knowledge connection. It's their Encyclopedia Britannica.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, I think, John, that conventions have to improvise, overcome, and adapt, or they will become simply dinosaurs for all of us gray hairs to go hang out and talk about the good old days. Hey.
Exactly. Yeah, because when I started in this business many years ago, we didn't have this. I mean, I started back in the early 80s.
Yep.
Started in radio, went from radio. I have a degree in broadcasting and journalism, and started out in radio and kind of fell into the other perspective kind of accidentally. That's the way most guys that are in radio do. They'll either stay with radio or they'll go into the mobile DJ part, or clubs. I did all of that, and we didn't have the resources that you've had even in the last 20 years in this business. Being able to do what we're doing tonight is just phenomenal. I used to have to just stick with local DJs, and we were caught in a rut because no one else was able to reach out, except if you went to those conventions many years ago, which
Yep.
Mobile Beat is pretty well. Aren't they the ones that really were the pioneers at starting that? I asked John too.
Well, actually, DJ Expo was the first group to have a DJ convention. Mobile Beat was the first organization to put together a mobile DJ specific event.
Okay.
But and with this, what we have to look at and identify is the shifting dynamic of what people want.
Mm-hmm.
And given the fact that what they want is content, the other concern I'm a business focused sort of person.
Mm-hmm.
These younger guys, that's great. They think they can get it on YouTube, but are they getting something on YouTube from somebody that has any qualifications to be telling them what to do? I'm big on business plans, on helping them to learn how to measure gross profit margin, how to figure things out. Because the truth is, without great exception, most mobile DJs are out of the business by the time they're 35 or 40. They get a wife and a life, and they're done because they're not making bank. I had a guy last night tell me, well, he works 20 events at $2,000, and he thought that was awesome. And I said, but that's only $40,000.
Yeah.
And that's before expenses. That's not much money.
No. Mm-mm.
That does not support a wife and a life and kids and 2 dogs and a picket fence.
Well, what we did this year, I have 21 years in with my previous job. It was a high-risk job. I'm turning 55 this year, so I'm going to be able to retire and draw that retirement. Well, we're pulling the mobile DJ business back to full-time again, slowly. I'm not progressively doing it, but I'm pulling into it slowly and walking on eggshells with it. Watching my expenses, watching what I'm having to do, because it was part-time for many years, or we used to call them weekend warriors or whatever the case may be. But now I'm starting to pull back into it because I got a life. But I kept the mobile DJ business going all this time. I think I had a hiatus of about maybe 2 or 3 years when my youngest son was born, because I needed to focus on my family.
Sure.
So I put it aside. And by all means, sometimes you have to. But I still had the fever, man. I still wanted to go out there and do it. I have fun doing it. And that's, you might say, well, that's a hobby. No, I treat it like a business, and you might say a hobby, because I don't call it a job. It's something I do to make money too.
But anytime you own a business, it's not a hobby. It's a business. And
I have a license, insured, and everything.
Right. And when you have a business plan, a written business plan, I could say to you, Scott, hey, what's your gross margin? And you'd be able to tell me exactly the percentage you make on every event. I say, what's your demand index, i.e., how many people look for any given Saturday versus your availability to fill that Saturday. You'd have that information, because that's what a real business does. And that's what I'm hoping to try to teach all DJs and photo booth operators, but in particularly the younger guys just getting into it, because I'd rather they not make 5 or 6 years of bad decisions and then go, holy crap, I now need to get married, but this doesn't make a lifestyle. And so they look at just closing down their business instead of figuring out how to make it profitable and how to make it actually make real money.
Well, you don't living above your means or buying equipment that's within your budget. I don't like to use I can't afford it. Brian's already instilled that into us. But within my budget, I've been able to get now with these, even in this year, because our margin has come up. Now I'm able to afford the equipment, and I've also eased my pricing up. I haven't went to an extreme, but I've eased it up. Probably, I'd say probably about almost 10%. But I did it gradually.
And that's appropriate and important to emphasize to people. Raising your price radically without numerical substantiation is just stupid. Because, for example, if you want to make a large jump, like 50%, 80%, 100% price, you better have a huge demand index above your supply, i.e., I've got 9 or 10 swings at the bat for every Saturday, so that if I don't sell my better rate, I've got a couple opportunities to sell it at a lower rate and still have income, still meet my business plan and other things. And so it's definitely the challenge people have, is to operate a business like a business. A lot of people on my show were surprised when I told them I rented equipment for the first year, 18 months.
Yep.
They thought, why? It's just left losing money. I go, no. It's a question of, I don't have to store it. I take it back, but I get to take out a pair of EV speakers this week, a pair of QSCs next week, some JBLs the week after. I get to check a variety of pieces before I settled on the EV speakers that I wanted and the QSC amps, because they were all passive speaker and amp deals. But it really gave me the opportunity to test in real world the products I wanted to actually invest in. And then guess what? I bought some pieces new and others I bought used. Because why? Quality equipment purchased used is a better decision than garbage equipment purchased new.
And it's a tax write-off.
But it's only a good tax write-off as long as you're making money beyond it.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. It was, you know what I mean? But
I get it.
Back then we did, when we started, the only thing I rented was PA equipment, because I was doing school dances and I needed something with oomph in it. So I would go in there, and back then I could rent almost a 1,500 watt sound system, stacks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The old stack system for $100. I'm charging them, back then I was charging $550 for 4 hours on that gig back then, carrying turntables. Now, mind you, I had to buy my turntables, and we had to buy our music back then. But I didn't buy PA for probably almost 3 years when we made the transition over to mobile DJing. Man, I didn't have a budget for buying that equipment at the time, so I rented it. I did the same stuff.
And that's appropriate. And here's an example. When you purchase equipment, everybody talks about, you should charge X because equipment rents for Y. And some people will toss out ridiculously stupid numbers like it's $1,500 or $2,000. That's nonsense. I can rent a pair of EV ETX speakers, tops and bottoms, wireless mics, the whole deal. I'm out the door for $300. And I would tell any mobile DJ, if you're looking at a significant expense, rent top quality equipment for $300. Realize that's a cost in your service. Price it appropriately so you still make what you need for your business plan, but that's a better decision because you're using the best equipment and you're not taking the depreciation hit, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing I do is I buy a lot of times with equipment. I will do the 6 months or 12 months through the outlets that will allow you to do it under no interest at all. You've paid off something in a year, no interest. They may charge you a $9 service charge, but it's better than what the interest is going to hit you in the behind is at the end of that thing. I mean, I've done that several, I'm not going to mention several, but there's several companies out there who will do that. And hey, I mean, it's a nice equipment that way.
Well, of course, and that's a great way to look at it is having the best equipment also fronts your company with the best profile, because if there's anybody that knows anything about gear, and they're not always at your event, but occasionally if somebody goes, oh wow, he's got EV ETX, those are the best PA speakers. You have some instant cred, if you will, by having quality equipment. Now, it never replaces talent.
No.
Talent, and one of my seminars called The Imitation Game focuses on the need for improving skills and developing your talent, because the technology is going to replace almost everything we do as a mobile DJ.
Mm-hmm.
It is headed that way. You can see it as you watch the way the consumer marketplace has moved with the ability of what consumer devices do, and it's not that long before the pro stock items do the same things or better, and eventually, if you're relying on what you do outside of the art and outside of the talent, you're going to probably find yourself in the commodity price range.
Yeah. Well, you know what else I did this year? Well, last year we bought a photo booth because I'm up here in North Florida. They weren't around. I didn't see them. I had brides asking me, do you know where I can get a photo booth from? And I got to thinking, I said, well, I'm going to get on this bandwagon. Why can't we combo this photo booth and DJ service together at wedding? Well, I did first. I've done about the first probably 2 or 3 here last year. The brides absolutely loved it. They're telling their friends. I'm like, woo, wow, this is getting overwhelming now. I'm a single op company, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, and that's why you need to join the Photo Booth Association and ADJA, because we can help you with how you build your photo booth business to really rock out powerfully. Because one of the things I'm trying to tell DJs is, don't give away your photo booth to book the DJ. You can, put a discount one way or the other, but your photo booth has an intrinsic value, and unlike your DJ service, a photo booth actually has hard costs connected to every time you run it.
Sure.
Now, arguably, it's not a big number, but you can't be willy-nilly and ignore it. To me, a photo booth should easily be $1,000. Easily $1,000, and the reason is because it takes skill to do it. And same reason I say a DJ service should be, north of $1,000, because it takes skill and talent to do it, even probably more so. Although what I'm teaching photo boothers is how to be entertainers. No, not to get out and be sticky, but how to be jovial, how to be great hosts for the customer, so that what they see is a fun photo booth experience. Because today, folks, people buy experiences. They don't buy crap. They're not that interested in the little strip of paper or the picture itself. They're interested in the memory they create, and that picture or strip captures it. And if you have a great dynamic host, they make those memories more vivid, and make it a funner. I said funner. Make it a more fun experience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I mean and what also we've started doing is going and buying these inexpensive books that you can put a 4x6 photo in there.
Yep.
And putting the guest book there and letting them sign it and put the second copy in there.
Yep.
And got a memory to walk away with that. And I've gotten more compliments on doing that. It doesn't cost me that much to do.
No.
Now, I upsell it, yes, and stuff like that. We're up to around, probably for 3 hours, we're getting close to around 600 to 700 on the booth. We're planning on easing it up, but we're right at about that right now. And people are going for that. They love the fact that they got all the pictures on a thumb drive. I buy a thumb drive real cheap.
Sure.
And I get all the pictures on a thumb drive at the end of the evening, and they're just static over that. You mean I got everything that was shot that you did? Oh, yeah. And they're excited about it because they can now get extra prints when they need to, go to Walmart, wherever they want to go, pop that thumb drive in. It's going to print up the same type what was printed there at the show or at their event. And because people makeshift them, and you know as well as I do what happens. They'll walk up with their smartphone, take a picture, walk off with it. They'll never see it. It ends up on Facebook on somebody else's page that they won't even see it. So,
well, if you want a great tip, Scott, look into what's called a hashtag printer or a selfie station. If you think photo booth blows up, imagine you have your photo booth and over beside it you have a hashtag printer. This is something basically people take their selfies at their table, they hashtag it to Instagram, that with the hashtag you've given them. That picture now shows up on the hashtag station. They walk over, click, and they get a print of the picture they took. In fact, it's a huge moneymaker because now you can have different backdrops in various parts of the room. If it's a youth event, different kinds of themes. People can take pictures. They go to the hashtag, get the copy of the print. They obviously, because it's on Instagram, it's there available. And it's a money machine. It is an ATM machine if it's done right in conjunction with your photo booth.
Yeah, I think Open Air, I want to say Open Air has something like that.
Absolutely. There's a number of companies. I have the Open Air hashtag printer. It's amazing. It's been an ATM machine.
Wow. World of advice there, man. I like that. I'm really getting a lot of information tonight.
So what's our next topic, John?
Well, just the hashtag printing, I've been contacted by, I think, 5 or 6 companies that I hadn't heard of last year or before that are getting into that. So I think we're going to see a lot of that down there this year.
Yep.
Let's see. They've been talking trade shows. They've been following along because we got a lot of folks who are watching on Facebook right now. So thank you for those. If you guys have got questions and such, I've been following the Facebook chat. Otherwise, we've got if you want to jump in with Zoom, we have the link. It's up to the top, I believe. I think it's pinned on this comment section.
Looks like Davester joined us.
Yep, there's Dave. Hey, Dave.
And Jared's being awfully quiet.
Yeah, Jared's always quiet. On Monday nights, he's quiet as a church mouse. Yeah, the iPad photo booth. Yeah, we could talk photo booth here for quite a while.
Well, and one of the things people need to think about in photo boothography is iPadography is going to rapidly change the way photo booths are considered and done. And I'm not taking anything against the DLSR, but again, as more and more of the millennials come around, they're wanting digital pictures, if you will. They don't have a great affinity to the print. They might, they may not. But also, the real difference is becoming as iPads cameras get better and better. You're talking that the only thing now that separates them from a great DLSR booth, other than some special magic tricks you can do with an actual camera, is light. If your photo booth was set up in the hallway of the event, where there's plenty of light, you'd be hard pressed without really getting into macro examination of the print to find a difference between a well-operated iPad booth and a DLSR booth. Now, no, you can't do some of the functionality you do on a DLSR booth because those things are all relative to functionality in the software that's picked, like Darkroom Booth or Breeze software. Those things, most of those functionalities are intended on the software, not on the camera itself. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see, I would suspect you're going to see a huge uptick in iPad-based photo booths, which is going to mean photo booths are going to drop from the $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 price point. You're going to see a large drop, and there will be kind of come the premium Cadillac designs like Photo Party Upload, LA Photo Party, and there'll be some things like that. And then you'll find a lot of mid-tier players and others bringing in iPad photo booths in various configurations. You know, the whole mirror booth is a big thing right now.
And I think why the mirror is so popular is, as you were talking earlier, is that it's an experience. People want that experience. And if I can do the mirror on the floor or on the stand or on the wall, you know, who's the fairest and take my picture, I feel special.
Well, exactly. And one of the things, you know, Dave sure asked if I thought that the generation are more interested in the selfie booth. Yeah, to some extent. It doesn't replace the photo booth, but I think it's a great augmentation. Yeah. Certainly, I used it a lot in DJ events because it was a great way to add another point of interest and another revenue stream, to have a great background set up, and I don't have to have an attendant. They just take their own picture, they come up to the selfie station and select their print their print. Easy peasy. I was getting $9.50 for a selfie station. And I mean, this literally is a box I set on a table, open it, power it up, make sure it's connected to the hashtag I created for the party, and just promote it. And, you know, have a backdrop. Like we did one with a tropical theme, because the theme of the event was a Tahitian party. So we had a Tahitian seascape, beachscape. Everybody was going over there taking it. But there was a lot of people that just took selfies on the dance floor. They got their friends together, they're singing, and, you know, they're taking the selfie. And so I think that there's a combination in both instances. I think there's still people that like to put on the hats and the goofy glasses and different things and pose in the booth. And I think there's others that just want to be organically more natural.
Yeah. And just kind of wrap up the the iPad situation with the new generation of iPad that they just announced, the 10 point whatever inch one it is.
Yeah.
Very, very similar in size and such to the current iPad Pro, with this new one's camera is the first one that the resolution on this one's like a 7 or 8 megapixel camera, which is a huge jump up from what they had before.
I thought they jumped to 12 on the front camera now.
Maybe it jumped to even that high, because I think the one before was like a third or a quarter of what the new one is.
Yeah.
So getting into that, and as you mentioned, lighting, you know, we'll see more iPad booths that are using this particular iPad because of its higher resolution and better camera. With the lighting, we're going to probably see some booths at this year's Photo Booth Expo with an iPad that's going to rival some DSLR.
I absolutely think you will. And a colleague of mine from down in Alabama has produced, because all these Ring booths are kind of popular and iPad booths are popular. Well, he made a portable, literally a handheld Ring mirror photo booth with an iPad. So literally he can walk around the event. Hey, would you want a picture? Boom.
Yep.
Boom. Take it, click. They go over to a print station to pick the print up. I think he's got a revolutionary idea that won't appeal to everybody, but I think it's going to have some serious legs.
So Drax, we've been talking photo booth, and we're going to continue talking photo booth, but let's look at it from a little bit different perspective.
Sure.
I'm a DJ who's interested in upgrading or doing this, and let's stick in that iPad photo booth realm. We know that the iPad's going to cost us $700 to buy a nice one. We'll go around with that number. The iPad photo booth stand and such is probably going to have about $2,000 price tag. So let's use a number of roughly $3,000 to get into this. For me to make this level of investment, what are some of the things I need to be thinking about in advance before investing so I can make sure I can get my money out of this?
Well, you want to think about who's going to hire you, because it doesn't matter if it's free. If you haven't figured out who's going to hire you, and if you're just going to bolt it on to your DJ company, that's okay, but I'm a big fan of having a separate photo booth company because it gives you a swing at the apple if they don't want your DJ business.
Sure.
So first thing you want to do is have a business plan. And then you want to decide, am I going to be a digital image delivery only, i.e. it'll be posted to a private website, or it'll be posted to Instagram or someplace where you've got to, if you're going to do digital delivery and you're putting everything online, you have now issues of confidentiality with minors and children that you've got to consider how that fits into the process. Mm-hmm. And then you have to consider, I think I actually want people to still have a photo strip or a 4x6 or what's called now the big jumbo strips, which are like 4x6s all strung together. So you have to kind of think about what it is that you want to do. And then you got to think about, why do I want to do this? Just because it seems like it's the cool new toy? Or, am I going to just be buying the new chocolate fountain? I mean, serious. You got to think about why you want to do it. Have a business plan for it before you spend a penny. Figure out who your target customer is. Are you going to use it as an upsell to your DJ business of, you hire us for a DJ for $2,500. We can throw in the photo booth valued at $900 for free. When the truth is your rate normally might be $1,500, but you're giving them a package at $25. Mm-hmm. Or you can say our photo booth is $950, but if you're booking the DJ and the photo booth, we'll give you $250 off the photo booth, or $250 off the DJ. Doesn't really matter, in a package bundle. You have to figure out who your audience is. DJs make the same problem with just getting into the business. I have music and I have gear. Now what? Mm-hmm. And so what do? They go, well, what does everyone charge? I know. I'll be $50 less, because that will certainly get it. And it does, but all it gets you is commoditization, which has you working a ton and not maximizing revenue. And you're most likely at that point not running off a business plan that would tell you you could make more money at McDonald's than doing what you're doing. So I guess what I would say is, if somebody wanted to add a photo booth, think about what you're going to do with it. How are you going to brand it? Will it be just a bolt-on part of the DJ business, or will I create a standalone photo booth company specifically to market that photo booth service? Today's customer doesn't want to go to your website and dilly-dally with 10 or 12 layers of menus. When they land on your homepage, they want to see what they want to see. That's why you've heard me talk about, if you do weddings, you want to have a wedding-oriented website. Yep. If you also do school events, you want to have a school-oriented website with a school-oriented domain. And why? Because you're target marketing the niches you're wanting to play in, casting the vision that you are a player in that space, not hitting that I'm a specialist at everything kind of nonsense. And so those questions need to be resolved. How are you going to approach it? Once you've approached it, then you start with your business plan. What are my consumables? Like, one of the things people will talk about with photo booths is, well, what do you do if people want extra prints? My answer is, I don't care. I give them to them free. Mm-hmm. Why do I want to upsell extra prints out of the printer? To me, there's no point, because I know if they're hiring me for 3 hours, I know how many prints on a 2x strip my printer will put out in that period of time, and I know how many 4x6s it'll put out. My rule of thumb is I price everything based on 4x6s. So I go, it'll throw out this many pieces of 4x6 paper. I know what that media costs for that period of time. And I know how many pictures we can actually take and print. Yep. So if they want lots of pictures, what do I care? Mm-hmm. Because the printer is only going to print as many pictures as it'll print before the party ends. So there's no reason to do anything like that unless someone says, well, I'd like to buy 100 prints of it, I'll say, sure, I'll be glad to do that. But the truth is, I'm not going to print them on my photo printer. I'm going to take the prints, go to Walmart or Target or Costco, print them off, and go here, you know, and charge them some nominal fee. Or maybe if the fee is modest enough, I just roll it in as advanced marketing and goodwill. Because if you want to pitch yourself as the high-end service, the last thing you want to be doing is nickel and diming people.
Yeah.
I remember back in the late 90s, I was kind of one of the few guys running a flat price, all in. And everybody's going, crazy. So Drax,
yeah,
gas went up. Gas has gone up, you know, it's gone up like 15 cents. You're going to pass that along to your customer? And going, my customer's paying me 5 times the market average. You really think I'm going to go back after the fact and say, I need another $50 for gasoline? That makes me look cheap. It makes me look stupid. Position yourself to be, if you want to be the market leader, be the premium supplier, you got to think in here, I'm the premium supplier, which means you have to have a little bit of latitude in there to do things. Like, for example, I know how many prints a photo booth will print in a given period of time. So that's in my business plan as my costing.
Sure.
So guess what? I also know that I'm probably not going to always print that maximum number. In fact, more often than not, I don't. So what it tells me is I've got money in the kitty, in the costing that's been built and accounted for and charged up, that becomes like, oh, yeah, okay, you want an extra 100 pictures? Fine. I can give them 100 pictures as goodwill, which is marketing, because it's not a loss to me. It's been already captured and recovered from the other, say, 10 events that finished off 15 or 20 images less than the target number. Does that make sense?
Oh, certainly. I got a couple of things here, Drax. First off, somebody was asking about how do you know what your printer can do? I know my printer can do 1 print every 10 seconds. And if I send 2 prints to it, it does 1 print every 10 seconds. So I'm guessing what you're doing is just doing the math. Okay, 1 print every 10 seconds, that's 6 prints a minute times 60 minutes. That's 360 prints maximum per hour, 4 hours. That would be 1,200 and 1,400 and some prints. So that would be the absolute most prints I could print.
That's exactly, John, how I figure it out.
Okay. Second, Brendan asked on Facebook here, would you recommend then doing X DJ and Y photo booth? You know, Joe's photo DJ and Fred's photo booth, or Joe and Fred's DJ and photo booth company? So
I would do Joe's photo booth company and Fred's DJ company.
Or Fred's photo booth. So
I mean, again, it depends. You know, even if you're a single operator, you have to consider, like when I ran my DJ business, I was a single operator. So while I had a separate photo booth website, I wasn't going to take a lower priced photo booth event when I need a $2,500 DJ event to make the business plan work. Does that make sense?
Certainly.
So it just was a separate branding point to be attractive. So when customers land there, you know, it gives me several lead opportunities that, oh, if it turns out that I'm short, I haven't booked that Saturday and it's 2 or 3 weeks away, and a photo booth lead comes in, I can take that photo booth lead at its profit. Yes, I still got to make up that DJ event, but I made money that weekend. And the value, if you're having separate branding, is the client may not want your DJ service. They may not want your photo booth, depending which way they're coming, but you now have another swing at being another service provider. It's like we provide a great way for ADJA members and Photo Booth Association members to represent and sell Sandals Vacations. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not we want people to be in the travel business, but rather it's another swing in the conversation that you're having with your customer and potential customers that potentially becomes another revenue opportunity. You want to think about, I'm not a DJ. I'm a businessman that provides DJ services. I'm not a photo booth. I'm a business that provides fun entertainment with a photo booth.
Sure.
I know it's a subtle difference to some, but it's really important because it changes the dynamic of how you look at your business. It makes it, yep. I told people, I spoke at our newly rebooted LA chapter of the ADJ last night, and I told them, in the end, you're in the making money business. Because on the DJ side, I'm going to be really candid. It's a young man's game. Mm-hmm. If you don't believe it's a young man's game, you really need to reevaluate, because Sally, 23-year-old, isn't going to hire grandpa to DJ her wedding. Now, there'll be outliers to that always. So what I was telling them last night is, you want to look at your period of time, wherever you are, as your maximum earning potential years. Which means you want to work 42 events a year minimum, but you can make more or less. But ideally for me, that was the number. And you want to be charging the maximum possible rate you can make and still work 42 events, because you want to maximize revenue. You want to maximize profit, maximize income, so that you're actually able to have things like health insurance, put money away for retirement. Because guess what, folks? I look in the mirror and I see this young, studly, handsome guy, full head of hair. And I look in the mirror the other day and I go, yo, who is that old geezer looking back at me? Oh my goodness. And I'm just going to tell you, if you're young and you're listening to this program, before you blink, you're going to go, holy crap, I'm 50. Whoa. I'm just trying to be real and be candid. So you want to build a business that's got great profit earnings. And you need to be able to know at any given moment how much profit you've earned for the year, what your gross margin is, which is the difference between cost and profit. There's math that figures that out. But you want to be able to look at your business and always know where you are. And so to answer his question, I would have separate web addresses. I don't know that I would necessarily have separate bank accounts, but I would say, for example, I would take my QuickBooks and I'd have an account that is Smarter Side Entertainment Services, mm-hmm. which is comprised of a subdivision, which is Fred's DJ and Joe's Photo Booth. And then as I'm taking in money, there's an income line that's income from Fred's Photo Booth and an income line from Joe's DJ. So even though I'm using one physical bank account, I have a clear delineation of who's making money, where's it coming from, and the same with expenses. Those becomes very simple, and it becomes an easy roll-up. At any point you can click and go, this is our profit profile. And guess what, folks? If you want to be a real business, at some point as you grow, you'll want to probably go to a bank and look at a business loan. Without those kind of financials, you are never going to get it.
Drax, we got to wrap here. We are a little over our time here. So,
sorry.
No problem. No problem. You mentioned, of course, ADJ and Photo Booth Association. Give us the URLs on that for the folks who are out there and would want to check those out.
Yep. adja.org and thephotoboothAssociation.com. You can catch me on Facebook as Hugo Drax, and we can chat. I'm happy to help anybody that wants some help. Obviously, I'm going to help people that are members a lot more, but catch us next week on DraxBytes. It'll be tons of fun. We'll probably take a hiatus for a week during the mobile beat.
Yeah, that's coming up.
But other than that,
we might
have a great one.
We might do that one live from.
Oh, that'd be cool. Let's do it. That'd be awesome.
Let's plan to do that. We'll just get in a hallway somewhere and we'll do a quick live one. So we'll figure that out. So thank you guys for being with us. We'll be back in about 5 minutes with MJ and the guys talking about the new Serato updates.
Cool.
Okay, so we're off there, and then we'll be shutting the little room down here in just a sec. Cool. Thanks, guys, for jumping in with us. Let's see.
Quite welcome.
So you got to go here. So many buttons to push. Buttons to push. Okay. I've got to shut this one down, gentlemen, so we will catch everyone later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.